People have been lied to. It's not what they think. My best advice for getting blood pressure down is we're going to get to the heart of how you can reduce your blood pressure naturally. Why you have high blood pressure, what's the best diet you can follow, and what else you can do. So stay on to the end of this video. Hi, I'm Dr Shirley MD, and I'm going to talk to you today about natural solutions for high blood pressure. Firstly, what is high blood pressure? Let's start with how blood vessels work. Now, we're talking mainly about arteries here. Vessels contract and relax to allow blood to flow through. When you're relaxing in a chair, they contract to maintain blood pressure in the blood vessels so that blood flows and gives oxygen to your brain and vital organs. When you need to run for a bus, the vessels open up and you get blood to your muscles. So they're constantly relaxing and contracting as oxygen is needed all over your body. Here you can see the muscles in the blood vessels which relax and contract as needed. Your blood circulation is 60,000 miles long, and that is a lot of blood vessels to maintain. As you get older, vessels get stiffer. They're not as flexible like an old hose. Inflammation in the body affects blood vessels as well. It causes small lesions on the lining of the vessels. Vessels have these layers. There's muscle, and then there's endothelium and the glycocalyx. As we said before, the muscle contracts and relaxes as needed. Then the endothelium is the inner surface of a blood vessel. It needs to be smooth to allow blood flow. Then it has an inner layer, the glycocalyx, made up of protein, which helps keep the blood thin where it needs to be and clotting if a hole appears in a blood vessel. If a leak appears, and these can be tiny damage from inflammation or diabetes, for example, the glycocalyx helps a blood clot form and cover it. Then cholesterol comes along and covers it over, making it smooth again, so blood can flow over it easily. So now you've got plaque, which narrows the blood vessel. We call this process atherosclerosis. Over the years, this happens many times. So all over your body as you age, you have these tiny tears in the blood vessel lining which have cholesterol repairs. This starts quite early in life from young adults. We know this from the Vietnam War, when lots of young men were killed in action, and the autopsy showed that they already had some atherosclerosis happening. Eventually, calcium settles in the cholesterol patches, and you get hardening of the arteries. As we get older, these little scars accumulate over time. It makes the blood vessels stiff, and they're not as flexible anymore. Now, this is where the old way of thinking is outdated, blaming cholesterol. Poor old cholesterol has had a rough ride. But it's only the messenger. Without the inflammation of your arteries, cholesterol would not settle in your endothelium. It's just trying to repair the damage. Inflammation is the real problem. Now, when you have inflammation, your blood cholesterol goes up because it's needed more. It's logical, isn't it? So if you fix the inflammation, your blood cholesterol should go down, particularly the bad cholesterol. And I have proved it with my own blood cholesterol. Now, I don't want to get sidetracked here. I'll talk more about cholesterol in another video. Let's get back to your arteries and the atherosclerosis. Now, if you're healthy, this process is quite slow and you don't get any problems until you're quite old. But if you have diabetes or high inflammation going on in your body, you get more of this process happening, and eventually your blood vessels stiffen up quite a bit and they can no longer flex and relax as needed. Your heart has to work harder and harder to push blood around, and the blood pressure gets higher and higher. Heavy metals like lead and aluminium, also contribute to the stiffening of the arteries. When we measure blood pressure, we're measuring the pressure where your heart contracts, that's the top level, the systolic, and when your heart relaxes, that's the bottom number, the diastolic. Now, your blood pressure varies a lot all through the day. Lower when you're sitting in the chair and higher when you're climbing the stairs. It's a fantastic system that works really well so that you can jump really quickly when you jump up from a chair if you spill hot coffee over yourself without feeling faint. It reacts that quickly. It's important that you don't get dizzy when you stand up, and also you have enough oxygen going to your muscles to get up the stairs. That's why when you measure your blood pressure throughout the day, it varies a lot depending on what you've been doing. The problem is when your blood pressure is high, even when you've been resting and it's still not back to normal levels. Research has calculated that if your blood pressure is consistently over 140/90, you are at risk of the side effects and you need to lower it. So what are the risks? Well, high blood pressure or hypertension does not usually cause any symptoms. That's why it's called the silent killer. Unless you check it regularly, you might not know it's high. If you've one high reading, your doctor might recommend a 24-hour blood pressure monitor, which shows what's been happening over a day. Right, back to the risks. Heart attack, stroke, and kidney failure are the three biggest problems. If you already have a blockage in your coronary arteries, then high blood pressure might be the thing that tips you over the edge into complete blockage and a heart attack. Your heart also has to work harder and harder, so the heart muscle gets bigger and bigger and under more strain. With high blood pressure, any weakness in a blood vessel might mean it has a blowout and leak. This might not be a problem in a muscle, but it can be a big problem in your brain or your eyes. Bleeding into your retina at the back of your eye can result in blindness, and a bleed into your brain results in a stroke. These are not easy to recover from. Some stroke victims have no recovery at all and may never get back their full function. None of this is fun, and you want to make sure this doesn't happen to you. So what can you do about high blood pressure? Well, if you have high blood pressure, you've probably got some permanent hardening of the arteries or atherosclerosis throughout your body in various places. You may have significant blockages in some places like your heart arteries, giving you heart disease or increasing your risk of a heart attack. You may have some in your carotid arteries in your neck, giving you reduced blood flow to the brain or giving you pain in your calves when you walk, and that's called claudication. Most often, what happens is you get general stiffening in your arteries without major blockages. So that's good. But the honest answer is it's very hard to reverse. Exercise helps stimulate your arteries to open up and also develop new pathways around blockages. The main way of reducing blood pressure, therefore, is to reduce the strain on the arteries with a healthy diet and supplements, which encourage your arteries to relax and open up. Obviously, the worse you are, the harder it gets to relax those artery muscles, but everything you'll do will have an effect, no matter how bad your blood pressure is. So it's always worth doing something, starting right now. If you're watching this, you might not be that keen to take tablets. Maybe it's still going up and you're wondering how you can avoid going up in your dose. Or even you may want to reduce the number of tablets that you're taking. Well, help is on the way. There are lots of things you can do to reduce your blood pressure. The obvious ones are to stop smoking and lose weight. But there are many, many other things you can do, and I'm going to explain those to you right now. First of all, we want to get those blood vessels relaxing as much as they can. What makes them contract and close up? Well, too much sodium. When you eat too much sodium, the kidneys can't get rid of it quickly enough. You start retaining fluid and the volume in your blood vessels goes up. More volume means higher blood pressure. Now, what foods are high in sodium? It's the old culprits, processed foods. The daily recommended allowance is around 1,500 to 2,500 milligrams of sodium per day. And you can get all of your allowance from one burger and fries. Get a double burger and large fries, you could be doubling your daily intake. It's scary how much sodium is added to these foods. It's the same story with fish and chips and fried chicken. These meals have sodium attached as a preservative and also to make them addictive. They also often contain hidden sugar, so it's a double whammy of high taste that gets you coming back time and again for more. So leave the fast food for a once a week treat. If you eat healthy for most of the week, you'll realize how salty this food is. You'll reset your taste buds. Now, just a word about Celtic sea salt. A lot of people recommend this to help with getting water into your cells and also because of its mineral content. While it is less processed, it's still mostly sodium. It has 1,000 milligrams of sodium per teaspoonful, which is more than Himalayan salt. And yes, it has traces of minerals like zinc, magnesium, calcium, and potassium. But these are tiny amounts, not enough to rely on for your daily intake. So for you, it's very important to limit all salt, including Celtic sea salt, Himalayan salt, and electrolyte drinks as well. It all has to be included in your daily allowance. Now, you might say this is too hard. I love my fast food, or I don't have time to grab any other food. But let me tell you, you can choose healthy food. You can have a salad instead of fries. You can have a smaller burger and add a packet of healthy nuts and seeds and a piece of fruit for after. You don't have to starve. It's all about healthy choices. Or fill up with a healthy starter before you order and get a small burger and salad. If it's just that you love burgers, then make one at home from fresh ground beef and real cheese. Potato wedges drizzled with olive oil will complete the guilt-free burger option you crave. The same goes for salty snacks such as potato chips, high in salt and sugar. Salted peanuts and other nuts are just as bad. Pretzels, corn chips, popcorn, they're all a heart attack on a stick. Keep them for special occasions only. Once you change, you'll notice how incredibly salty these foods are. You'll feel a bit sickly after eating them. If you don't believe me, just try it. Give up the salty foods for a week, then try some salted nuts. You'll really notice the difference. Now, what helps blood vessels relax? It's potassium. It's found in healthy foods such as bananas and tomatoes, as well as other vegetables. Magnesium, found in green leafy vegetables, healthy nuts and seeds, and even cacao, is a great muscle relaxer to open up those arteries and get more blood flowing. Nitric oxide also helps the blood vessels relax. To be honest, the first time I heard about nitric oxide, I thought it was something only bodybuilders or athletes talked about. But once I learned what it actually does inside the body, especially for blood pressure and circulation, I was seriously impressed. This tiny molecule, which most of us never think about, plays a massive role in keeping blood vessels open and the heart happy. Here's how I understand it. Nitric oxide, or NO as the scientists call it, is basically a natural signal your body uses to tell blood vessels to relax. It's made by the cells lining your arteries, the endothelium. And when these cells release it, It tells the smooth muscles in your vessel walls to chill out a bit. That relaxation causes the vessels to widen, which is called vasodilation. When blood vessels open up, blood can flow more easily, and your heart doesn't have to work as hard to push it through. I like to think of it like traffic control. When nitric oxide is flowing properly, it's like all the lights on the highway are green. Cars move smoothly, no jams, no pressure building up. But if nitric oxide levels are low, these lights start turning red. Blood flow gets restricted, pressure builds up, and that's when trouble starts. For a long time, I didn't realize how many things affect nitric oxide. Stress, aging, poor diet. All of these can reduce how much nitric oxide your body produces. When I was eating a lot of processed foods and barely moving, my circulation wasn't great. My hands and feet would get cold, and my blood pressure readings were creeping higher. Once I started eating foods rich in nitrates like spinach and beets and actually exercising again, things started improving. That's not a coincidence. Both food and movement naturally boost nitric oxide. Exercise is a big one. Every time you get your heart pumping, your blood vessels produce more nitric oxide. It's like your body saying, hey, we need more oxygen and nutrients here. Open up the roads. That's one of the reasons regular movement helps lower blood pressure over time. Food helps too. Leafy greens, citrus fruits, garlic, they all either help the body make nitric oxide or protect it from breaking down too fast. Beets are one of my favourites because you can actually feel the difference sometimes. My face gets a little warmer, my circulation feels better, and I almost sense that my blood is flowing more freely. Now, I think of nitric oxide as one of the body's natural ways of keeping the cardiovascular system in balance. It's amazing that something so small, a simple gas molecule, can control something as vital as blood flow. When I take care of my body with good food, exercise, and less stress, I'm really just helping that nitric oxide do its job. And that job is keeping my blood vessels open and my heart working smoothly. Eating some fresh beetroot every day, along with some healthy greens, will make a huge difference to your nitric oxide and your blood pressure. So that's some of the important things that you can do to get your blood pressure back under control. But really, there's so much more. That's just the beginning. So what I've done is I've put my natural solutions into a handy ebook, which you can read and keep forever. If you want to stop blood pressure in its tracks, if you want to prevent all the bad results from high blood pressure, such as strokes, heart attacks, and kidney failure, then you need to get this ebook, and it's free. For me, it matters that I can get this information out to everyone. It's that important. Don't wait until you've had a stroke or heart attack. Don't wait until you're on the maximum drugs and there's nowhere else to go. Get moving today and take action. Procrastination is the enemy of good health, as we all know. Stop high blood pressure in its tracks and do something for yourself. Just click on the link below to get your copy now.